Hi everybody, it is the 24th of February 2021, which means that console update 10.3 dropped, well, kind of last night and this morning for PUBG on PlayStation and Xbox. So as PUBG is still very, very close to my heart, even though I don't upload that many videos about it anymore, I thought let's go through the patch notes, let's see what changes they've introduced as Season 10. Is it Season 10? Well, the current season starts to wind down, and we can just wonder what we'll be getting next. So, hello survivors, update 10.3 is here with an assortment of new features and performance upgrades, including new weapon sound selection system, some lighting improvements for Karakin, and even the ability to emote with your teammates. Dive into the full patch notes below for full details on everything new. 11.1 update. In consideration of the PGIS tournament schedule, the next monthly update will be held later than usual. In addition, starting from the next season, it will proceed in a different manner from the previous seasons. Details will be announced through a separate notice. I guess because they don't want to change the meta of the game halfway through a professional season, do they? So now you can select what weapon types sounds you'd like, whether you'd like the new weapon sounds or the old ones. Interesting. Now I'm going to try and not be negative about PUBG, all right? Because if there's one game that I wish I could play more of and be as good at as I used to be, it would be PUBG. I still consider PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds to be the greatest game ever created and the most fun experiences, the most immersive experiences I've ever had in a video game, whether that be playing solo or be playing with squads, you know, fours or twos, have been within PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Admittedly, probably not over the last year, but, you know, 2018, 2019 on Xbox, PlayStation 4, absolutely. I just kind of feel that PUBG kind of lost its way a little bit, a lot really, with a lot of the decisions they've made around the number of maps they've introduced, splitting up the player base with things like, you know, ranked mode. When they changed Erenge, when they changed Vikendi as well, I didn't like that because I really enjoyed the old Vikendi. And I feel that quite a lot when we go through these patch notes, you get these things like this weapon sound select system, which they smack of indecision at the top, or, you know, making a decision and then going back on it. So, for example, with weapon sound system, they remastered the weapon sounds for some reason. They wanted to make them better. Great, fabulous. But they've then given us we can now go back. And it's like, well, was the improvement you made better or worse? You know? And if it was worse, why did you make the decision to do it in the first place? And if it is better, why are you giving people the chance to move back? You know? I kind of feel like maybe it's the creative director, I don't know, or the overall person's in control. They need to have a vision for PUBG, like Brendan Green used to have, you know, a real vision for PUBG, and really stick to that, because it is an absolutely amazing game, Battle Royale and PUBG. But they need to look after this baby, and they need to have a vision of what it's all about. I think they need to get Brendan Green back, but there we go. Anyway, onwards. We're happy to implement this weapon sound select system. This feature allows players to select between original and remastered versions of certain weapon sounds, e.g., for example, the M249 LMG, the M416 assault rifle, the Kar 98K bolt action sniper, and the SKS semi-automatic marksman's rifle. Karakin improvements. So they've improved the lighting inside. See, this is an interesting one as well. So, okay, so the one on the right, we can agree there's more light and you can see more, can't you? However, what we could probably also agree, the one on the left is moodier. You know, and I think sometimes these changes they make when it comes to lighting, I think they come from the esports guys. Maybe, because you know, like how they changed the colours on Sanhok, didn't they? The jungle map. I mean, Sanhok wasn't my favourite map. It was fun, but I felt the sightlines were too low because of the verticality and the foliage from the jungle, and more often than not, you'd always get third-partied. But, you know, it was all right. It was okay. It was a different flavour. And then they changed the colours on it, and everything became this almost like neon green colour. You know, it's like they turn the contrast down as well and turn the saturation up. And the reason for that is visibility a lot of the time, so players can see players better. But it definitely ruins the immersion because you're like, this looks terrible. And then they had to scale it back again, didn't they, a couple of updates later. And this is the sort of thing, because esports players are like, well, we need to be able to see esport players, right? What they want out of PUBG is they would want trees with no leaves on. They would want bushes with no leaves on. They would want it to run, at very, very low graphical settings so that they can see everybody, so that their computers can run at, 4,000 frames a second. And they want to be able to look through a window and see inside what's inside the building, even though it might be dark inside the building. Now, there is a balance to be made. You don't want the insides of buildings to be black so that people inside the buildings can't see out. But also you've got to realise that the majority of people who play PUBG are casual. And what we want and what esports players want are pretty different things. And, sometimes these changes aren't... so it's a bit brighter inside. But then they've added overcast weather to Karakin. Kicking AFK players in training mode. Oh, good. So you can't just shoot at players standing there anymore. Emote with your squad mates so you can all dance at the same time. Again, the sound in the corner of Brendan Green weeping. He watches this. Is the game inspired by DayZ and Armour. Let's come to this. Improved store experience. Great. Are they going to give us something to spend our... Is it battle points? I've even forgot what the points are called now. Battle points, isn't it? I've got about 215,000 battle points, but I refuse to spend them on a turquoise gun. Okay, well, I'm not really... Season 10 is wrapping up. The Survivor Pass comes to an end on March 31st. That's ages ago. Ages to go. Reputation system, so this is if you can get reported, can't you? Inventory improvements follow up. With update 10.2, we introduced a new game inventory experience to help players navigate and manage their inventory more efficiently. After this, we collected feedback through continuous community monitoring and saw that some of you would still like to use features from the previous inventory system. Based on this feedback, we reverted some of the changes and introduced some additional improvements. The changes are as follows. Auto tooltip pop-up feature. The tooltip pop-up feature will now appear after focusing on specific items after 2 seconds. Change the order of key guides. Reposition the inventory key guide to prioritise buttons used alongside different actions. Change the key binding for quantity adjustments. Pressing the D-pad left or right and R-stick left or right will increase, decrease select items by 1. Holding the D-pad left, right or R-stick will increase, decrease select items by 1. However, once it reaches 10, it will increase by 10s. Press hold D-pad up and down will increase select items by 10. Okay. Performance enhancements. Great, so they made the gun better now. I will do a video about this. So when you go to the home screen now of PUBG on your console, there's a new event, Zone Tag Mode. And the way this works is when the game starts, there's this ball of energy that will then stick itself to the nearest player if it can, and then you and your squad have got full boost and all the other players know where you are. Let's see if they've got a picture. There we go, there's the ball, and that's how they know where you are. Then the circles will start to come in. The only way you can't drop the ball, you have to be killed or knocked, and then the ball will then find its way to the next nearest player, or if it can't find anybody suitable, it will start heading towards the centre of the circle. So I guess the advantage of having the ball is that you're getting full boost, so your health is recovering. However, I can't quite stop but feeling that the way to play this is not to go after the ball carrier and try and get the ball. The way to go after it is to look for the people who are going for the ball carrier and kill them from a distance, or just stay out of the way completely and get as far away from the ball carrier as you can, so that you can then come into the final circles to win that way. But yeah, again, the sound of Brendan Green quietly weeping in the corner as these game modes are introduced. But I'm going to give it a go. and we'll see. The ball drags the centre of the circle along with it whenever it moves. There are still circle phases which will shrink the circle and increase damage. At phase 6, the ball disappears and the centre of the circle is locked until the end of the match. Here we go. Restricted areas. Entering a restricted area will detach the ball and make players ineligible to receive it. The small islands off the mainland, inaccessible rooftops and high ground, ferries, water. Players who step into water with the ball will receive damage and have the ball detached. Land vehicles will spawn at every possible spawn point on the map. Boats and motor glider will not spawn. All vehicles are immune to weapon damage and cannot have their tyres punctured. However, we cannot guarantee damage from crashing into objects. Spike traps are not spawned. One inside a vehicle reloading weapons will not deplete your ammo reserve. What? So it's going to be Erangel. Third person squad only. There we go. And we got some new lovely PUBG mobile skins coming to PUBG. Some new emotes, Valentine's Day skins, various bug fixes. So there we go. An interesting update to console, PUBG 10.3. Apologies again for being a bit negative. I just wish they would do an update that would say, actually, we haven't changed. Actually, I'll tell you what would my perfect PUBG update be? It would be, okay, here we go. We reverted Erangel. We reverted Vikendi to as it was, but we've made it run smooth for everybody. We've put everything back where it was, because I used to love Vikendi, but now it's just kind of a snowy, browny mush of a map. That would be the first thing. The next thing would be we have one map that you play, Erangel, so you can always choose to play Erangel all the time. And then, or you've got a random mix of maps that you can choose, which will be all the other maps. You know, Miramar, Vikendi, Karakin, the volcano map, the Haven, is it the new map that we have at the moment? All of those in there, and that would probably be pretty good enough for me. Get rid of ranked mode as well, but bring back so everybody's in the same lobbies, but bring back the proper we up until I don't know how long ago it was. Anyway, the initial scoreboard you used to have in PUBG was based around final position and kills, not timing game. It was you had to play quite a few games to get onto it, but it wasn't about timing game. So even when you played normal mode, you know, because there was no ranked mode, if you got to the top 10 and you killed the odd player every now and again while doing it, you could play competitively. And I used to love doing that because it really rewarded players who played stealthily and played survival PUBG. Basically, you could enjoy the game and get to the top of the leaderboards. People who were aggressive and wanted to kill lots of people could still get to the top of the leaderboards as well, but it wasn't based around time in game. And you felt good finishing a game, say where you got into the top 10, you got to say 8th, but maybe you only killed one person, but it would give you the extras. So that's what you need to do, PUBG. But anyway, check it out for yourself. It's a free download. Put what you think in the comment section below the description of this video. I'll put a link to this blog post in the description below as well. Come on, PUBG. Come on. I want to play you more. I know you're one of the best games ever. And in my heart, I love PUBG. There we go. Anyway, that's enough from me, and I will see you again soon.